Your parents bought a house on a job that today wouldn't even qualify for rent. So what changed? Your parents bought a house on a job that today wouldn't even qualify for rent. So what changed?
Because this isn't just a feeling anymore. We've already looked at the numbers. Housing costs compared to income, college costs versus everyday expenses, and across the board, something shifted.
So now the question becomes, if things changed this much, how do we actually fix it?
And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. There's no one fix. No single decision, no one policy, because systems don't break overnight, and they don't get fixed overnight either.
But that doesn't mean that nothing can change. It just means you have to actually understand what drives the system in the first place. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, systems don't run on intentions. They run on incentives.
This is episode 8 of the Green Bros. What changed? Why every generation feels worse off. If you go back a few generations, the relationship between income and cost looked very different. Homes were around 2 to 3 times yearly income. College was affordable, or at least manageable. Jobs were more stable, and pensions were more common. Today, homes can be 5 to 10 times your income. College often means debt, and long-term stability has shifted more onto the individual. So when people say just work harder, it's worth asking, are we even operating in the same system anymore?
So, let's talk about the incentives, because that's where things start to really make sense, right? Incentives. Every system, from government, corporations to institutions, they all respond to what benefits them. So obviously, if housing keeps getting more expensive, if education keeps getting more expensive, and if costs keep rising faster than income, it's not random. It's usually the result of how the system is structured. So the real question then becomes, what is the system actually designed to do?
And this brings us to some real world examples. Take housing. If supply is limited, demand is high, and investment incentives stay strong, prices go up. Take education. If funding structures rely heavily on loans, debt becomes part of the system. Take infrastructure. Projects takes years, costs increase, priorities shift. Not always because people don't care, but because of how decisions are made.
So what would it take to actually change these things, right? You have to look at the most basic level. Income and costs have to make sense again. If essential things like housing, education, healthcare keep rising faster than income, people keep falling behind. And if we're thinking long term, a lot of decisions today are made for short term wins, which Kyle has brought up in the past, how obviously we've seen can be devastating for businesses and the
It's
economy.
short-sighted.
Yeah. You look at election cycles, quarterly profits. Those are all the things that they look for their short-term wins. And what do we always hear with politicians, right? Well, for their next campaign, if they want to make a good run for their next campaign, and we see it everywhere, that's their focus. But we all know that real solutions take time, right? 10, 20, sometimes even 30 years. But if we look at what other countries have done and see how they kind of approach things differently, we don't see perfection, but we get a different idea of what we could do. We see stronger public infrastructure. We see different cost structures. We see different priorities. It's not about copying those things. It's about asking ourselves what actually works, especially here within our system. And so we have to understand the system we're in. We have to understand how money works, how debt works, and how decisions today affect your future. You might not control the system, but understanding it changes how you move inside it.
So when people ask, How do you fix a system like this? It's not one answer. It's a series of shifts, better balance between income and cost, better incentives, more long-term thinking. And what we mean by that is we need to eliminate the short-term goals and expand to more long-term goals.
Right.
Short-term thinking is only short-sighted. It only lasts for so long. We need something that's perpetual and can continue.
Right.
More awareness from the people inside it.
And so if you look at things like better incentives, this is something that we should all sit down and go, okay, what is obviously not only great for us, the consumers, the renters, etc., but what can we create as a system or a part of the system that incentivizes those things to make those businesses to make things like more long-term solutions, right?
I mean, one of the biggest steps we can take, especially now in the current climate we're in, people always want to talk about the golden age of America, the 50s.
Yep.
Okay, it was a golden age in some regard.
Yeah.
In others, it was a complete fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Pardon the language. I would like to see that tax bracket brought back.
Yep.
If people want to see the golden age of affordability again, that wealth tax needs to come back. And even if I was someone who was wealthy, I would want to pay my fair share for others as well. You should not be offended by this. This should not be something of, oh my God, they're going to give out handout. No, all our taxes should be going towards fundamentals.
Here's the crazy part to me, right? And this isn't like, it's just kind of where I've gotten to this point in my life is like, I'm not like a sociable guy. I'm more of an introvert. I like to stay home. In today's world, I just think the world gets a little crazy and I don't care to go out and deal with it a lot myself. But when we restructure a society and we make things work in a way where we actually see it start to benefit people and restructure better, even people like me, right, are going to want to go out more. We're going to want to do more. We're going to want to spend more time in these places.
You'll have the expendable income at that point to do those things again.
Yep. But, you know, in terms of long-term solutions, something like you and I kind of brought up was like, okay, well, what if we did something like, I don't know, take a renter, for example. Okay. If these people successfully have these people rent from them for so many years, or maybe we should incentivize them to get them out of renting.
It should be to get them out of renting. There should be some way to get people out of renting and into homes.
So
the fact that rent can basically make it so you can never move out is ridiculous.
So maybe if you do a program where if this company, you know, gets so many people into a house out of renting, they get the tax break.
We need to get out of this pick yourselves up by your bootstraps mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Because the only people that spew that shit are people who never actually had to pick themselves up by them bootstraps.
Here's the sad part too, is like, you know, we talked about it with kind of like ordering pizza or any really community investment, right? Is from our perspective, if we're the wealthy ones, we see it as like, we're more happy to pitch in more to make things easier on everyone else, especially when it comes to like some form of investment or paying into taxes. And I just think it's funny that the other people who supposedly tend to be more religious or say they have, I'm not going to get into that right now, but just claim they have like this higher moral value, are always the people who are quickly into like fear mongering away from socialist programs or social services for the people or in the downtrodden. But then when people are like, oh, we need these tax breaks for companies, and it's like, but they've failed multiple times and needed a bailout. So where is the pick yourself up by your bootstraps mentality there?
Well, where are you learning from your mistakes?
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but
how are they not incentivized to just fail again?
It's no different than the 2008 financial collapse. Why did we bail out a bunch of bankers and rich guys that made a bunch of poor investments and tried to short the system?
Right.
I didn't want my tax money to go there.
Right.
I mean, what did they do to deserve a bailout?
Exactly.
Who cares if we would have let the European bank fail? And that was their problem.
And look at, for example, like jobs that don't actually promote like growth within the company. Why would we want to incentivize that? Or companies that actively push jobs overseas to make it cheaper. Like I like Bernie Sanders' idea of like an exit tax.
Yes.
And we obviously, I think I don't have a problem with things like the ERS, right?
Right.
I don't mind having a government agency that is going to make sure companies aren't just sending their money overseas to be like, oh, I was going to do some really great things over here for my company here. But then you find out it's a shell company. And
just for tax write-offs.
Have you guys ever hear that in like movies and stuff and think that's not a thing? That's
It's very much a
definitely
thing.
Start looking into different tax loopholes that people have used in the past, and it will start to generate some ideas on how these people have been more incentivized to do those things instead of actually work within the system and make things better for everyone else.
Well, those who never want to be a part of the system and always want more control are going to try to wiggle out of the system.
Right.
So,
and then again,
those that do that with that type of wealth need to be heavily punished.
Again, that's why we always tell you guys too, be wary of your sources. Sometimes you have to look at, if a bunch of multiple different affiliated, like non-affiliated sources are all kind of saying the same thing, it kind of gives you a better idea of what the majority is kind of thinking or seeing on the issue, right? And that's why, like, for a lot of people out there who are hooked on the Fox News and stuff, and like, I know you've been told some kind of way, maybe, or something's got you hooked on those guys, but you have to realize a lot of those guys, yes, CNN, yes, a lot of those different stations, a lot of those people are going to be paid for by the same people who want you to do things like fear mongering new taxes, right? Or a new tax bracket, or telling you that the wealthy are all going to leave if we add a wealth tax, right? If its success is so good, and we talked about trickle down being such a great thing, right? Then why is there basically, when we say, okay, let's have a trickle down tax because you guys haven't been giving back, all of a sudden this is socialist. You just want to take rich people's money. Yet if you want to take all the money off of the hard work off the backs of your employees, that's just business. That's fair market value.
Let's just be real anyway. Companies love to spew we hate socialism. So does everybody else. They turn it into this evil buzzword. But yet companies really don't mind socialism when it benefits them. Right. We've brought it up before. I'm pretty sure it's been mentioned multiple times. Mm-hmm. But it's real wild how as soon as those time for those bailouts come, they're the first.
Look at, and again,
I need help. I need help.
And I don't know.
And then you ask for a tax break and we cut you tax breaks? Why? What do you bring to us?
Exactly.
What do you bring to the table?
And people have to realize, right? All they've done with their unfettered wealth is what? We know they do political contributions. We know they're in there lobbying. So we're actively, if we don't tax them, we're actively and competently choosing to give them the ability to do so. And that's what people need to realize, that by letting them maintain these, well, there's nothing wrong with success. Again, we're not talking about the people or the companies who make like $100 million a year. We are talking about these exorbitant megacorps that have now decided to take that money and power, or Vanguard and BlackRock, and be able to buy and own everything. And they don't have to pay taxes, and they tell you how bad it is. Look at how many of those companies they own brag about record profits. Could you even?
And then they lay off 30,000 employees.
Right.
How did you have record profits, but suddenly you need to downsize?
And what are you guys going to think? Like, what do you think happens, right, when they finally have the money to start automating everything?
Bye.
You thought the job market's bad now?
Just wait, because there ain't going to be no market.
And obviously, we've seen that people at like the head of Nestle, I don't know if he's still the main CEO there. Know. But when California had its issue, how he said, well, I don't think water is a basic human right. Is that the type of people you want with a lot of money controlling your lives? You
just had people at the World Economic Forum tell people eventually we'll be paying for fucking oxygen to breathe. I'm sorry, what the fuck?
We're not going down this route. And so we as a collective, as a group, we the people, it's now time to put our foot down, start putting limits and regulations on these people. Don't let them convince you that the private sector is the way to go. These people will actively spend the money that could have changed your life to destroy a public service and then tell you, look how bad it's failing, so they can get you into a privatized fucking sector. Something they can take over, they can control. And guess what? You think it's for the customers? No, those prices are going up and it's all for the shareholders. You know the story.
That's another thing. I don't think we say this enough. We are blue collar workers.
Yeah.
We are not white collar. We are none of that horse shit. We are guys who get their hands dirty.
Yep. Always had to work hands-on jobs.
And I prefer that personally. I like that better. I like getting my hands dirty. I like working on shit. That's just me.
Yep.
They want to treat us like we're fucking property.
Yeah.
Like we owe them.
And you guys
our services.
You guys have to think, look at how they are with your personal data, right? anytime they have some type of service or something, they basically demand or want you to allow them to sell your data. Why should they not pay you for that data?
That's your data. That's your information.
You're telling me we're working a system of currency, but now they want to trade. So I have to pay to use their service and give up my personal data. Why is this a thing? Why are they not having to pay us? Could you imagine, even if you got 10 cents every time someone used your name or phone number?
Bank.
Jesus, bank. And that's why we have to work together to shift a system like this. At this point, most of us, I think, want a utopia. Most of us can see the fact of we could easily integrate with AI down the line. It helps us do the work that we need to do. It helps us generate revenue. And we could have community investments. We could have community banking. The big companies want you to shy away from that because what does wealth bring? Power. And what does power bring? Control. And that gives them control over the system.
How
right?
dare a community have their own control over their community when some rich guy could just have that for themselves?
Why wouldn't an Amazon?
That's what they think.
Well, for example, right? Why wouldn't, and we see how many people protest data centers, Amazon warehouses. Why wouldn't these people have to pay those people in the community back? Why shouldn't they get dividends for the profits when it's those people's land? They have to deal with the increase in traffic. They have to deal with the noise. You altered their life. You destroyed their entire landscape.
Pardon me,
for your business.
You completely make us pay for your garbage anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We pay for the water and electrical usage? No.
Yep.
No. This is why power companies, water companies, they should never be privatized in any way, shape, or form.
These should also be community services.
Well, no, they should be, in a sense, government owned because it's a part of infrastructure, for one. And two, without privatization, they can't control how it's outputted or where it's used.
My whole thing is, again, if no one's shelter with electricity and running water should be a basic need. So to me, the fact that everyone helps generate and have a reason for that electricity is it needs to become a community thing. There shouldn't be an electricity bill when everyone's basically paying for the power already. And to not set it up, again, if this would have all been done through community investments and not off of stingy corporations, then people would already be hooked in. We could have had some dividend payout every month from some of these companies back to the members of the community, so that people will actively also have to deal with like all the potholes, all the trucks.
You know, to all you people out there that think privatizing everything makes it all better and more competitive, it doesn't. That's a complete fabricated lie.
Yep.
There is no benefit to privatizing everything because once you privatize it, it can't be regulated.
Right.
It can't be fucking controlled.
And the issue is,
and we've learned these wealthy bastards can't handle themselves with their money and power, and they obsess over more control, and then they keep taking everything away. They want you to have nothing.
That's the biggest thing, is that we've seen now that allowing certain people to rise to a certain amount of wealth has become dangerous. You have to think that Elon Musk basically just paid for his right to be and advise Trump in the White House. That should not be a thing. We should not have a rich CEO be able to go whisper in the ear of our president, who helps agree and make policies and sign off on policies and bills that can change our lives as a collective.
But y'all will suck his dick while he's jacked up on ketamine and doesn't know his dick from his asshole. But you want to rag on the stoner putting your food together at a fucking fast food joint that you are going to.
And that's the thing I always tell people too. If you don't appreciate the people that do those things for you, then stay home and cook your own meals. Again, supply and demand. You really want your food made that bad, then you get the service that you get, especially when the company, that wants to take care of their customers so well can't even afford to take care of their employees half the time. I'm just saying.
It was a system that was made for specific people, and guess what? You and I, it wasn't for us.
Right.
It was designed to entrap us into a shit cycle where we never make enough to get any better. Our lives can never improve better. We are literally limited.
Right. And that's, again, like we talked about in the, earlier in this episode. from housing to education. These are all things that should have gotten easier for people to afford. You think about technology and progress. How much more tech do we need before somehow these people can find a way to make it financially beneficial for everyone? Really. So we're going to sit here as a company or country and watch how these companies make all this money and be like, oh, they definitely don't have enough to pay taxes. The CEO is making billions, definitely don't have enough to pay a wealth tax. I mean, come on, guys. If I feel like if any one of us were standing up there, right, if you or me, and I like to use the example of you're in a, let's say, a giant island, right? And you have money to pay people, they understand the idea of infrastructure, and you just actively choose to only take care of certain people.
Right.
What the fuck is the point? The whole idea of power and control is honestly just a giant insecurity thing anyway. That's for these people, not the idea of it, but for these people. I don't think otherwise would really do anything to benefit the world. They've seen with all the time and money that they haven't done anything to
They all
benefit
have
the world.
delusions of grandeur.
Yep.
They think because they're going to be this messiah figure to lead mankind into the future. Dude, most of them are so fucked up on drugs, they don't know shit.
And you have to realize
And none of those rich dudes actually had anything to do with any development of anything that any of their companies have made. They don't have ideas. They just throw money at things until something sticks.
And then the worst part is that a lot of these people meet at places like the World Economic Forum and just decide because they're rich and they run these companies, they're going to decide what the future of mankind should be. No one fucking voted for them. No one asked them to. But apparently, instead of using their stuff to benefit all of us, they'll just decide how it should go, like we're some little sheep or things that can be controlled. Like Kyle said, the whole idea of talking about charging for oxygen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The way Bill Gates was talking about sterilization and fertilization issues.
I'm sorry, herpes boy. I don't want to hear nothing from you after you went to the island.
But this is what I'm talking about. These people just actively decide, oh, well, we have the money, we have the connections in each of these systems and these areas of study. So we'll use what we can to do what we can to other humans to make things go the way we want. Who voted for these guys? So go look up the World Economic Forum. There's plenty of guys out there who like to make compilations of the craziest shit they talk about on there, which is awesome.
There's some wild ones in there, guys.
So, and getting back to it, we start to see what needs to change overall, right? I think some of this has become pretty obvious. I feel silly that Kyle and I have to mention some of these things, but it's just a reminder to some of the people out there that you're not crazy.
No.
These things are giant issues. And it's not going to happen overnight.
No. But over time.
And the real question is, I guess, for you, the viewers, what do you actually think needs to change?
What do you want to see move forward for progression? Yeah.
What would a better economy, what things would you like to see put in place in our economy that benefits maybe the everyday citizen? How do you see them being put in place? Things of that nature. So yeah, let us know down in the comments below, of course.
Hey, let me say one more thing to my blue collar guys out there, guys and girls. Know your fucking worth.
Yep.
Don't let them offer you any bullshit wages.
Seriously.
Stand your fucking ground. If they don't want to tolerate it or they think you're overpricing yourself, I mean, don't be outrageous, but know your worth. Don't just work for cheap fucking shit. Don't do it.
And remember,
you're better than that.
Exactly. No matter what they tell you out there, you guys, the nurses, the teachers, the warehouse workers,
the mechanics,
the guys at the store, the mechanics, the cooks, there's so many, the policemen, the firemen, all those people, you guys are worth so much more and should be taken care of so much better than you are.
What you provide is so understated. It's not even funny.
And that's not only what we want to remind you guys, but what we want you to remember and realize going forward is that you should be treated a lot better. So every day when you're having a shitty day and you're thinking, man, is this job worth it? It should be. It should be.
And if it isn't,
because what you guys do.
And if it isn't, we got to make them better.
Shout out to the janitors, the trashmen, all you guys out there helping the world actually go around and stay.
UPS has been getting a lot of flack, but I'll tell you what, the mail people out here for USPS, mad props. Y'all work constantly. Yeah. And I feel terrible for you guys.
And same thing with the FedEx drivers, all you guys. A lot of you guys get put through the fucking ringer, man, and it's bullshit.
And let me just clarify. We know You are not the problem.
Yes.
This is why this goes out to all those fucking executives,
Right.
to all those board members, the shareholders. Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck
You are freeloading parasitic fucks.
And fuck you for not taking care of better care of your employees.
You can pay better. That's why you won't drop inflation either once it goes down. You'll keep prices high so you can keep ripping everybody off.
Just remember, if it wasn't for them, you'd be the guy in the warehouse. You'd be the one at the hospital. You'd be the cop. You'd be the fireman. Well, I mean, those aren't businesses, but you'd be the ones in your stores and in your places of business having to do all that shit that you make those people do every day. That's time away from their family. And trust me, I know how much that can suck to a lot of people. And that's another thing I'm sorry you guys all have to deal with. You guys should get a lot more time with your family.
One last thing, because this can't be said enough. I'm tired of hearing how fucking shitty the education system is in this country when we massively underpay teachers and wonder why they don't give a shit.
Exactly.
And then we piss poorly fund all these schools, but make up excuses for why we can't do better for education.
Yep.
Fuck off.
Mad big respect to the teachers out there, man.
Teachers get way too much flack for having little to no funding to do their fucking job.
And they have to deal with a lot. I could not imagine. I mean, kids of any age, it's a lot to deal with.
Dude,
so.
I was a kid. I know I was a nightmare.
Yeah, I know. I was Hellraiser. So, I mean, not comparatively to some other people, but
Not compared to some of these kids out here nowadays.
I'm sure I drove my teachers off the wall. So sorry to you guys. You know, it was fun though.
It was fun. You all made class at least entertaining, and
Yep.
it gave me enough knowledge to keep pursuing education, like even after school.
Yeah, I wanted to learn a lot more for myself, and that's the thing is like,
Y'all gave me the door. I walked through it.
you know, solid foundations. That's things that I think we need to focus on. Maybe next episode is how do we actually start building a better, more solid foundation for the future, not just for us, but obviously for our kids and stuff growing up. As they go forward, they shouldn't have to be stuck in this stupid repetitive work loop of work until you're 65. Well, I think now
Fuck, they want to raise it to 70 because, you know,
and then it'll be 75 and then
it's always these rich assholes telling you how long you should work till while they sit back and, yeah, you know, you can't really do anything. So you probably just get to work.
But we had lunch and I mean, we had a meeting.
Yeah, whatever, man.
And had drinks.
Fuck you, rich fuckers.
It's time to make things better for the everyday working class.
Eat the rich.
I think it's time we start eating the rich, guys. I mean, honestly. So
also, mad props to our peeps out there actually sending a clear-cut message to the establishment by burning these warehouses to the ground that aren't getting reported on. You know why they're not getting reported on? Because that would scare the shit out of those fucking shareholders and executives.
A lot of people would suddenly be concerned. You know, we saw it with
you can say what we want about our opinion on this one, but I'm sorry. Props to y'all.
Hey, I'll say this. I don't blame them for hitting that point. I really don't.
No.
And I don't feel bad for the CEOs. Sorry, not sorry. You guys had a lot of money and opportunity to take better care of your employees. A lot of the times they're in there working in the heat and the cold. They got to deal with a lot of bullshit. They're there while they're sick. Their kids are at home sick. And to you guys, it's just another statistic. And so you get what you get. You get what you put in, right? And that's the funny thing is I bet everyone loves that saying until that shit come right back around on them all of a sudden the way they don't like. So
no, we are a country of freedoms, all right, but there's a freedom of fucking consequence now, and you bastards are facing it because their people are fed up.
Yep. People are done.
Maybe you should have, what did the one guy put it? Pay a livable wage.
Paid a living wage. Yep. It's not a lot to ask.
Made billions of dollars. Oh, I can only pay $10 an hour. It's the best I can do. It's market value.
And we told you guys, it's not for clickbait. I wasn't kidding last episode when I tell you can go run the numbers. If you just went back to a 20-to-1 worker to CEO ratio for pay, most people would make almost $1 million and CEOs would still make 17.5 mil. So I know some people are going to
food for thought.
I know some people are getting defensive, but really think about the fact that what causes you to need $17.5 million and only be able to pay someone $1 million. And if that's already a lot to you and that's a problem, I think you need to readjust your value on what people's worth is and your level of greed.
And what human value actually is.
And what
apparently you don't
is.
understand that either.
Yep. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I hope you guys stuck with us there for episode 8. What changed? Why every generation feels worse off. As usual, comment, like,
subscribe.
We always appreciate that. And we're slowly getting up there. So I think we got like 23 subscribers.
Hey,
Shout out to you guys. Appreciate it.
Hells yeah.
So yeah.
Keep it sleazy, folks. Keep
And
it sleazy, but always keep it a hundo.
That's right. And as always, till next time, nerds.